Mojo sat down with Trisha Paytas this week to recap her year in drama and talk a little bit about everything that kind of got her canceled this year and how she felt about it all. There was the whole wine tour drama, Brookes' birthday drama, being friends with James Charles, Bryce Hall stuff, and some random other things. It's been quite the year, so there's a lot to get into. Obviously, one of the bigger dramas Tana was in this year was when she spoke out on her podcast about her experience on a wine tour in France. Tana was in a bad mood from the start because she had stayed up drinking really late the night before, and she had to be ready for this tour early, and it wasn't the tour that they were hoping for. It involved a lot of walking, which she said was not what they thought it would be, and it was very educational, which they didn't love, and it ended with her beefing with the tour guide. She ended up saying in the podcast episode that she wanted the tour guide dead and fully named her by her real name, Cynthia. So people were able to look her up, and it was a whole mess that even resulted in Tana losing a podcast sponsorship. Trisha asked Tana how she felt about the whole wine drama on the podcast, asking her if she regrets what she said, and she wasn't too regretful, but she basically was saying not that I wanted her to actually lose her life, but she just didn't like her, and it was very clear.
Telling Cynthia the wine lady to blank. Do you regret it, or are you like, whatever, it shouldn't have been that big of a deal?
I think it's hard because I say things. What the headline said was not what I said on the podcast. If you go and watch the clip, I don't want anyone to die.
What
That's
did you
not
say?
What I said. I don't even know.
Yeah, you're like...
She was... You know, in my experience and opinion, I felt that I was treated really, really, really poorly by someone who did not want to be kind to me. And what I do is I tell those stories.
Yeah.
And they're my opinions and experiences. And we've talked about this 1,000 times, you know, where it's like, I've learned towards the end of this year, you know, the power that the canceled podcast holds.
Yeah.
But I really, in that moment, was just talking to Brooke and treating it as like a bad Yelp review. And then you just forget that millions of people are going to see that.
Tana, overall, when it came to this situation, just felt like she was being dramatic, and she shouldn't have been so unfilteredly dramatic when it came to this particular story she was telling on the podcast.
I say dramatic sentiments, and the news really picked up on that.
Right.
And I probably should have not said a couple dramatic sentiments, in my opinion. However, I did.
They obviously know. I mean, that is like, obviously, you know, you don't want this person to like
at all
not live anymore.
I just hope I never see them again.
The other drama these two covered was the drama surrounding Brookes' birthday recently, where people were really upset at Tana because Brookes' friends being at her birthday was really important to her, and she had expressed that on the podcast, but she said that this year she didn't want to feel disappointed by anyone because everyone always cancels on her birthday every single year because it's too close to Thanksgiving. So she just uninvited everyone from the friend group. Brooke was just super sad, talking about the fact that nobody's ever really wanted to make it work for her when it was clearly important to her, and everyone else just seemed to want to justify not going to her birthday. Tana ended up buying Brooke her dream car for her birthday and surprising her with it later, which seemed to solve the drama between them. And a lot of fans were like, okay, Tana, that was pretty sweet of you. Some did say that Brooke probably would have loved it just as much if her friends showed up for her actual birthday, but they were happy for her that Tana made her so happy with the car. So on this podcast with Tana and Trisha, they were talking about the backlash from the situation and how Tana felt about the whole thing.
We handled it fully off camera. It came down to the internet's perception. Little did the internet know when they perceived it that I was getting her a car, and I love Brooke.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying caring about her birthday is unserious, but like the internet's like perception of it, to me, I was just like, who cares? Like, they just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I love Brooke more than anyone on this planet, and I want nothing but her to have a happy day every single day and for her to thrive and succeed, and I try to showcase that as much as possible and take care of her with every ounce of my heart and my bank account, or whatever the fuck I need to do, like anything, just anything she needs.
But I think she knows that. She's like so grateful for you. Like when she was on here, she's just like, Tana.
Anything she needs, I'm right there, and I always will be. And anything she wants, I'm gonna go to the ends of the earth to make it happen. So I guess I was I don't read Reddit, so I really I didn't see a lot of it.
That's so good.
She reads it.
I'm like, girl, don't read Reddit.
We were on the phone with the damn car dealership more than I could be on Reddit.
The two of them then got into the fact that people have had a lot of feelings about the fact that Tana became friendly with James Charles again this year, after years of calling him out and going off on him. She basically says that they're civil because they have a lot of mutual friends, and she doesn't want to have to stress about there being beef between them when they're at the same place.
the cookie crumbles the way the cookie crumbles, and we have a lot of the same friends, and I was seeing him every day and holding in that hostility and anger and what all those negative emotions weighs on you, especially when you see this person all the time and you see them and then your heart drops to your stomach and you're worrying, can I go here because this person's here and I don't want this drama and whatever, and all we are is civil, and I think that's what needed to happen in order to just grow and move on. We're not besties. We're not hanging out. We're not, we're not in each other's lives like that, but we're unblocked. And if we see each other, we see each other and we're able to have small talk like people.
Keep it cordial.
Yeah. Like
it's
people.
hard when you have like the same friends too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously I was never like, oh my God, everyone go be besties with them. Yeah. But the cookie crumbles the way the cookie crumbles.
Trisha ended up asking her if she gets upset when people try to cancel her for who she's hanging out with. And Tana said that people just don't understand that they aren't seeing everything. Just because she's with someone for a bit doesn't make them friends.
It's all boils down to no one understands that what everyone is viewing is 10% of reality. Mm-hmm. Like they're like people continue to live their lives when that camera shuts off 90% of the time. So if people want to weigh in on that 10% and assume it's the 100%, then that's on them.
Yeah. People really don't know that kind of stuff, I feel. But
she said that she's just over having drama with people when she's out and going places, that she just wants to be on good terms with people to avoid issues.
Like I'd see people at parties and I'd be cussing and I'd be talking and whatever. Like now I want to walk into a room and I've done this for 10 years. I'm tired, bro.
Yeah, you're just
fucking tired. Like I just don't care. Like
that's why you just gotta go to Hawaii with Adam Sandler and Makoa.
Not kidding.
And speaking of being civil, Tana said that things between her and Bryce Hall are actually okay now. If you guys don't remember, there was some major drama that went down between Bryce and Tana earlier this year. On a podcast, Bryce was asked if he's ever hooked up with someone because of who they were, but he wasn't attracted to them, and he said yes and said it was Tana. It was a really bad look for him, and Tana ended up talking about it on her podcast as well as the Saving Grace podcast, and Bryce ended up unfollowing Tana after this and later went on BFFs and talked about how him and Tana were actually never friends, that he doesn't like her, or what she said about him recently. Tana was super hurt by this because she was like, I really genuinely was friends with Bryce, and for him to say that we were never actually friends is not the truth. And Tana was once again saying on this podcast that she was really hurt by the situation, but they have been able to talk about it and move forward from all of this.
It was the mutual of it all, like him saying we weren't friends, that hurt my feelings. Because I felt like I really tried to be a great friend to Bryce,
And why did he say? Did he ever tell you why he said you guys weren't friends?
I think he was like mad at me. It's so, unserious for the most part, a bit dramatic.
But again, perception is reality. Maybe in my head, maybe the perception is different.
Exactly. And now it's just like, I just feel too old for that.
She also addressed the situation with Mads Lewis, where Mads called her out on BFFs this year, a little after Coachella, saying that Tana just switches up on people.
We know Mads hates everything right now. Yeah.
I don't hate everything, and I don't have beef with Tana. She just switches up on people so fast. You know what I'm saying?
Those looks are kind of similar.
Tana said that they're actually cool now and they've worked through the drama that they had, and it's not a big deal anymore.
We're also cool now. I swear to God.
She was at your Halloween party?
She was at my Halloween party. I just saw her the other night. We're way more similar than we are different. And, I see myself and you. We react and we say some crazy sometimes and whatever. And it's so much easier to be friends than hold any negativity.
Especially when they're young. She's a little younger than you. She's like, So.
And it was just like silly BFFs podcast, internet canceled, just.
Now, Tana also talked about her drama with her best friend Ashley from earlier this year. Basically, some major drama went down during Tana's birthday trip this year, and her and Brookes sat down to spill all the tea on a podcast episode. On the trip, this guy that Tana had dated back in the day, but they broke up and it was amicable and they're still good friends and they stay in touch and talk on the holidays and things like that. She ended up inviting this guy to her birthday trip. And it was on the birthday trip that she found out that her friend Ashley had been with this guy for a while now, and that other people in the friend group also on the trip were aware of the fact that Ashley has been with this guy, and Tana just didn't find out about them until this birthday trip of hers. The whole thing had Tana really emotional, and she didn't really want to talk about it because she didn't want to bring any hate to Ashley, but because people on Reddit had speculated about the situation, that's why they were discussing it on the podcast. But she gave the update that all is well now and they were able to work it out.
You just can't expect the hot, dumb, too hot to handle boy to not be a player boy and like,
Yeah.
you know.
He
and-
was on the trip with you guys.
Yeah, he came. He lives in Miami, so it's like an hour flight, and he came, and that was what normally would have been a great decision, but for that trip, it was the worst decision ever.
Just because, like, you weren't over him or something.
No, not that. That he just wanted to be fucking, and it just went down. You know.
This
and
is
I was
why
like,
I don't
wait.
have friends or hot friends for that matter, because
That's
it's
fair.
like, you know, I always
Yeah.
think that's like your.
But
you
love-
don't care.
I love Ashley so much, and it was
so
never
sweet.
about like the feelings for Joey. It was about getting misconstrued down the grapevine. But we
Yeah.
worked it out off camera, and I'm not kidding. The week after I uploaded the podcast, we were good.
Now, on to the most recent drama, calling out Matt Rife. Tana and Trisha talked about the future of his career, which Tana said could have gone one of two ways. Either he could skyrocket or he falls off, which they talked about the way that he's been handling the situation so far isn't setting him up to skyrocket. But they say that if he does, he has got to get some better jokes.
I just hope if it goes to the ladder of him superseding to the moon, that he somehow. I'll write his jokes. Like, someone needs to make
That's
you
what
funnier.
I'm saying. I think he doesn't have the talent to back it up. You know what I mean? If like someone
Yeah.
was really funny, like Louis C.K., he's told like really gross jokes, and I feel like he's funny, so he
Yeah.
can get away with it. Dave Chappelle,
For sure.
Matt is just so unfunny.
Tana also called out Matt Rife for the fact that he came onto their canceled podcast and acted as if he didn't even know Brooke when they had all this history together, but he chose to act like she was a complete stranger.
Quick.
Coming on canceled and pretending like you don't know Brooke when I know you know Brooke. Like, I was just sitting there with like.
He knew you knew.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, I'd been around. I'm her best friend. We'd just gone
so
to like his
weird.
comedy show a month ago. He invited her. They were kissing in the crowd. Like, you know, it's
So
like. So I'm
weird.
just sitting there like, oh yeah, is it nice to meet us? Like, you know, it's just.
Yeah, he was off.
Beyond fucking over it.
Now, that was pretty much all the drama that was covered from Tana's life this year, but I wanted to bring something else up that we talked about recently, and that was that at the H3 live show, Tana said that she was going to be the godmother to Trisha's new baby. Everyone on stage was in shock by what she was saying, and everyone wondered if she was just joking, but she claimed to be serious, even though, I mean, everyone also was calling her out for having a lot to drink that night, so was she actually serious?
I'm very happy that she has a beautiful daughter and she's pregnant again. I wish her all the best with this.
I'm the godmother. I'm the godmother of the new son or daughter. I don't know. I'm the godmother.
You're the godmother?
And I love that I'm able to possess the balance.
You're the godmother?
I am.
You have credentials? How do you prove that? Are you just saying that?
What?
Was that like on video or something?
No, I'm saying it.
Okay.
It's true.
Well, it turns out she was just joking. At least that's what it seems like based on this episode of Trisha's podcast, where her and Tana were talking about Trisha's daughter and the baby on the way. And Tana joked that she would be the godmother and that she actually has a godchild and buys her all these gifts. So her and Trisha were making jokes, but that's all it seemed to be, just jokes.
If you ever need a fill-in godparent for this one, that
Okay.
one, I'm right there, baby.
And the
And I
next
give
one.
good Christmas gifts. I have a goddaughter, actually. My hair girl's.
You do?
My hair girl's daughter is my goddaughter. And
You
now
can
I
be
have
the
to.
godparents to all our babies.
Absolutely. And then I had to angrily go to Best Buy and, spoil the damn
Oh
girl
my
side.
gosh, you're
Yeah.
such. Oh my god, you are Santa Claus. I love it. Now one more question from our patrons. There's a lot, but let's just do.
So I'm sure Ayla and Ethan will be relieved to know that it was just jokes since they were just in so much shock at the news when they heard it on stage. But that's what's been said on this episode of Trisha's podcast. I want to know what you guys think about what Tana had to say about all of the drama that she's been in. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.